Hi. Lately my friends have been asking me to make a video on how that I menu plan and shop for my family. This is the calendar that I use that I have printed off and laminated for us to use over and over again because I don't want to waste paper. And as you can see, some of the things are crossed out, some of them are circled, which that one I'll tell you about in a moment. And other ones are just circled. Some are circled and crossed out. The things that are circled are things we have not eaten. And the things are circled and then crossed out are things that we didn't eat on that day, but we ate later. And what I do is I will do sometimes 2, sometimes 3. I have done up to 5 to 6 weeks of menu planning at one time. And what I do is I will look at this when I'm done, when I'm ready to go shopping again, and I will write down everything that is circled. So, I know that there are 5 meals that I can make with things I have at the house. Probably actually more because I have more turkey to make another turkey pot pie, and then I have plenty of things to make pizza. But this is something my kids want, so that's why I wrote this down. And because I make my own crust, I can make pizza just about any time as long as I have a couple of hours to think about it before I make it. These are things that I normally buy every couple of weeks from Sam's. We buy pork loin, chicken breast, chicken thighs. I don't have the chicken thighs on here. Rotisserie chicken, and some hamburger meat. We usually look at the roast, and if there's a good one, we will buy that to make beef tips and things. And we look at the steak because sometimes they'll have it marked down, and there won't be anything wrong with it. And we can get steak for like really cheap. And then we always get potatoes, fresh vegetables, things like that. And this time I know we're out of mozzarella cheese, or almost out, so I went ahead and put that on there. On my refrigerator, we have a list. And on this list, what we do is we write things that we are either out of or almost out of, and we'll start at the bottom and go up. And if we say come to right here and I find, well, I can go to the grocery store, or we don't need that much, but I need to go to the grocery store because we're out of milk or something, we'll just go ahead and pick these few things up. I'll cut this off, and then we'll start the list here and go on up. Okay, and that is what this is right here. As you can see, it's not as long as the others because I did have a small partial list that I went ahead and went shopping for. On here are things that we either are out of or close to out of. So I will go to this, and that's where I will make my list that goes on this paper from this and this. Okay, after I am done with this, I will mark it off, and like this date is tomorrow. We haven't eaten that yet. I will mark it off, or wipe it off, sorry. And I will start over, and I will start with Wednesday, which actually I will probably write pork chops in there, but I don't know, I may not. I will start on Wednesday making my new menu. And what I do is I go with the things that I had told you about earlier that I know I can already make. Those things will go first on the menu, and I will take these 2 lists and I will write down all of these things that are on this list. And then I can take it to the store and have one list. Okay, now is the last step in doing the menu planning after you have looked over what you already had left over from the time before, after you've gone grocery shopping, after you've put away all of these groceries, which I only showed how we put up our meat because we didn't buy a lot of bulk other things. So, I only showed the meat. So what we do now is we erase all of this. Oh goodness, it's not erasing. Dry erase is not erasing. It's beautiful. There, that's better. Okay, we erased the whole thing. Don't know why it's not working properly. Let me do something else. Didn't know this was going to be this hard. It never has been before. So, what I do is I erase it, and then, like I said before, as I was putting away the meat, I made a list of all of the things that we could have. Now, today is Tuesday. We just had leftovers. We're thinking about having pork chops because that's what was on the menu, but we changed it to leftovers because we still had a lot of turkey from Thanksgiving. So, tomorrow is Wednesday. It is the 30th, and that will be the start of our new plan. And then we'll start for December with the next part. What I do is all of these things that I have on the list, I have them on the front and the back. And I ended up with 24 meals. But then, like I said before, pizza and things like that I can do even more times. And I may have 25 out of what I bought today and the few meals that I had left over. So my daughter has been asking for burgers. So tomorrow night we will have burgers. And this is how I started. Once I write down something on here, I mark it off here so I don't think we still have it. I try to space out my meats, beef, chicken, and pork. I try to space it out so that we don't have the same thing, the same type of meat every single day or a few days in a row or something like that. So, on the 1st, which is Thursday, we'll have something different, and we'll have pork chops. And I will go back in here later and write in, say we decide we want to have black-eyed peas with it. I need to soak my peas. Or if we want pinto beans or something like that. Or if I need pinto beans for making chili or making refried beans or something like that, I'll need a little bit of heads up, at least the day before, so I can soak my beans, because I do use dried beans. Alright, then Friday, since we're having beef and then pork, we'll just do something with chicken. So we can do chicken thighs on the grill. And I'll write down that I want them grilled. And then I'll mark it off over here. And I keep going until I'm done with everything that is on this list. This is Christmas Eve, and the last few years we've actually eaten steak on Christmas Day, and I did buy some, and that's what we'll be doing this time. And if we decide not to have steak, then we'll probably just go buy ham or something like that and have that. But most likely we will stick to what we have already on the menu. So I ended up with two things, a pork tip and a pork chop on the last two. And I can, because there's so many pork things this time. I could move it around and have pork a different day, have it swapped up, and maybe do the tacos on this day, and then do the pork chops sometime during that time. But we did have pork chops here, and then I could maybe I'll just do pizza here, which, like I said, I can do that multiple times. Well, you know, I'll do this. Pork tips on that day, pizza on this day, because I have plenty of stuff to make it more than one time. And let's see, what can I move around to have the other pork chop some other time? I think what I'll do is I will just write it up here, because sometimes I do that, and let myself know we have that. There may be some time where we want to have that for lunch, like say that someone's, you know, my husband's off work, or say that we have friends over and we may decide we want to have pork chops on that night just because we have someone over. And that way we can stretch the meal. Other things we can stretch, like whenever we have spaghetti, we could have friends over and we could have spaghetti. And this meal, we could have friends over. Sloppy Joe's, we could have friends over. The turkey pot pie. There's just different meals that are in this that we can always, if we decide, hey, I want my, you know, somebody to come over, or these friends to come over, then those are meals that we have already scheduled that we know we can always stretch it, and people can come over and not worry about it. Now, the sausage is not on here. It's usually eaten for breakfast, or else the breakfast for dinner thing. And also, we cook sausage on the grill a lot of times. But this, because we grill a lot, this is what it ends up looking like. And that means I have 29 days of food, but I will actually have more than 29 days, because some of this will end up being leftovers, and those things that are on here that we don't eat, say we don't eat the beef tips on that day because we have so many leftovers, on that day I will circle it, and we know we have it. We can roll it over to the next time. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.